It is 6:31. Welcome to the July 23rd, 2025 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. This is a hybrid meeting with commissioners, city staff, and members of the public participating at the Arlaga Family Recreation Center in accordance with public health guidelines for in-person meetings and members of the public participating remotely. First, I'd like to introduce the commissioners and staff present. We have Commissioner Yongdong Panyu, Commissioner, Vice Chair Joseph Grass, myself, Chair Wan Lee, Commissioner Shilpa Patel, Commissioner Michelle Sherman, and Commissioner Justin Van Buren. Staff present include Library and Community Services Assistant Director Nick Shagda, Library and Community Services Supervisor Tricia Mullen, Management Analyst Ashley Walker, Recreation Coordinator Harrison Yee, and Senior Program Assistant Kate Listing. Ashley will be helping facilitate the meeting. Ashley, will you please take a moment to provide instructions to the Commission and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Thank you, Chair. For members of the public who are attending this meeting virtually and wish to provide public comment, after the chair calls for public comment on for items you wish to speak on, please engage the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are calling in from a landline or cell phone, please press *9 to raise your virtual hand. For members of the public attending in person, there are cards available on the table. Please complete one and turn it into staff before public comment is called for the item you wish to speak on. If there are a large number of public commenters, the time limit may be adjusted by the chair in order to allow everyone a chance to comment. When your turn for public comment has arrived, staff will unmute you. With that, I'll turn the meeting to Tim.
Under public comment, the public may address the Commission on any subject not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the Commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. Please clearly state your name and address or political jurisdiction in which you live. The Commission cannot act on items not listed on the agenda. Therefore, the Commission cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up under public comment other than to provide general information. Ashley, do we have any public comments?
Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? No public comment.
Okay. Moving on to item D1, a presentation on the field allocation process. Staff will provide a brief presentation on this item.
Actually, a second to pull it up there. And Harrison and Kate stand up really at the front of the meeting.
Perfect.
No worries. It's okay. Let me know if you want me to pull up anything and screen share. Passion.
There we go. Okay.
Thanks, Ashley. Once again, I'm Harrison, Recreation Coordinator. This is Kay Liston, Senior Program Assistant, and we're just going to talk to you guys a little bit, or walk you guys through our field allocation process. So just gonna give a quick policy overview of our athletic field use policy. The athletic field use policy, it provides defines and provides a definition for Menlo Park residents. It outlines our field schedule and how we prioritize that. I will be going into a little bit more detail on that in one of the next slides. It also covered all of the fees for our field, baseball, softball, soccer, and turf, and they are kind of separated based on the size of the field. All of these fees are listed in the athletic field are from the master fees. It also goes over the requirements of the user groups. They need to provide the correct insurance documents. It goes over the rules and policies for field use. And it also mentions, rule enforcement. It is the responsibility of the user groups to, ensure that its participants, its staff, follow the rules and policies that are on the policy. As mentioned in previous slide, just want to touch a little bit on the prioritization of our fields, and how we approach reservations. So we do prioritize city-sponsored youth programs first, and then city-sponsored adult programs afterwards. Coming in after that would be our school district-sponsored programs. And once those groups are taken care of, we do take into consideration the community hours, which are designated hours, where the fields are open for casual drop-in use by, Menlo Park youth and families. After we take into consideration those community hours, we look at programs or events that primarily serve underserved Menlo Park residents. And then kind of following in line with that, we also look into programs that offer significant fee discounts or free participation to underserved Menlo Park residents. And then come our organized sports groups that primarily serve Menlo Park residents. And then our organized sports groups that primarily serve Menlo Park adult residents. And then kind of rounding out the prioritization list would be our nonprofit programs and then our for-profit programs. Just wanted to touch base a little bit on the designated field user group policy. Applications are accepted 2 times per year. I'll let Kate kind of go into detail a little bit more on the process of that. The next slide, the designated field user group, this is for, groups that are interested in seasonal field use. All of these user groups must comply with the athletic field use policy. And then in terms of the application for our designated field user groups, a couple of the items that we do require in that application are a list of user groups activities, a valid certificate of insurance, league rules and guidelines, and their annual schedule, a list of their roster showing residency and age of its participants, a list of its board members, and if applicable, proof of nonprofit status.
Okay, so I can go a little bit more into the process and practice. As Harrison said, we have 2 application periods. There's a spring summer period, which goes February through August, so that one's wrapping up. And we're starting for the fall winter period, which starts September 1st and it goes through January of next year. So the process, about 2 months in advance, we request tentative schedules from all of our user groups. And then about a month and a half out, we have a meeting with representatives from the groups to go over any conflicts or anyone who requests the same field during the week. So we actually just had that last week with all of our groups, mid-July. And then in early August, we'll send them their schedule and they will pay 50% of their entire field bill for the upcoming season. After all of the user groups have their schedules finalized and are 50% paid, then we open reservations up to any other renters on a first come, first served basis. And all rentals have to go through staff, so there's no online reservation process. Any rental will have to basically go through one of us and provide insurance, even just for a one-off rental. Other factors that we consider is on-season versus off-season. During the spring, it's primarily baseball season, so little leagues are the main field users. And in the fall, soccer groups need a little bit more field use. Also the number and percentage of Menlo Park residents. So we don't want to get as many Menlo Park residents out there, so the larger the groups are, and the more percentage of Menlo Park residents, the more priority. The types of activities for the field, we have a few fields that are baseball and soccer, so that our baseball field that fits out onto a soccer field. So just kind of balancing between those groups. The age of participants, the neighborhood impacts, and schedule availability. So this is some data that we collected about the field use. And what percentage of all the rentable hours are actually being rented. So the rental hours are for lighted fields, 8 AM to 10 PM, and then for not lighted fields, 8 AM to sunset. Keep in mind, this includes school hours, so that's basically all the hours that the park is open, so that's kind of taken into consideration. But pretty good, rentals on across all the fields, so. Yeah. Slide. All that we have, if there are any questions? Okay.
I guess first, Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item D1? No public comment.
Okay, thank you. With that, public comment is closed. Now we could have a commission discussion.
So I got a question. So utilization doesn't look that high for, you know, the hours, but there could be a lot of demand for like after school, for example. How much, is there, any, contention that's going on? Is there enough? Are there too many groups using the field at certain times at any time, or is it pretty much all just working out just fine? Everybody gets the time they want.
The fields, after school hours are the primary rented hours. It does get allocated pretty evenly. All the groups are able to get their practices. And there's also other areas that aren't necessarily designated for a specific sport. At Chapel Isle Park, there's an open field space in front, which is also kind of public drop-in hours. That aren't specifically for a sport, but are open for, families to use and everything.
Okay, and then, one more question. How are the fields holding up as far as, just durability of the fields? Are they, everything going okay as far as maintenance is concerned, or are they overused sometimes?
I think, yeah, I mean, particular seasons, there are a little bit more use than normal, like a spring seasons for baseball are usually really popular seasons. But we do schedule annual maintenance on the fields to try to upkeep them, try to maintain them, try to like keep a high quality of fields. I think we do have, our few share of, comments about the quality of the fields, but I think, overall, from an overall perspective, the majority of our fields are maintained pretty well, and we, our public works team tries to do a pretty consistent job of making sure that the fields are maintained, the landscaping and things of that nature.
Yeah, so they do, just piling on to that, not piling on, adding a little bit. They, as you can tell, Burgess is closed right now for renovation. They cracked it open for 4th of July and they closed it again. And the idea is it needs time to get aerated, reseeded, filled in the holes from people living there, dig holes and things like that. And so I don't know about percentage of time. It's usually once a year, I think.
We usually time it for the summer, because the summer is also a little bit slower of a season for a lot of our sports too, so we try to kind of work with the user groups and the seasonal users so that we're closing the fields during seasons to where they're not in season.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a question for here.
I have a question. I was on an adult kickball league a number of years ago in Nealon Park. It was so much fun. It was just that one season. I was curious to know in the organization of that, how easy or difficult is it for a community member to do, and where would they fall really in the priority of groupings of like, would that be considered an organized sport? Serving Menlo Park adult residents? Just curious to know how that even got off the ground. It was so much fun, but I hadn't seen anything like that since.
Yeah, so those adult leagues would kind of fall under the, I think in the slide, it was the city sponsored adult programs. So those, in terms of field prioritization, they would get priority before the seasonal user groups because it is a city run program. So for example, we have adult basketball leagues and adult softball league. The adult softball league plays on Wednesday nights at Nealon. So we block off the Wednesday night for them, and then the other times of the day for Nealon are open for the user groups for one-off rentals. In terms of kind of how difficult it is to organize something like that. On the staff side, to be very transparent, it's not something that is super difficult for us to organize. With kind of adult leagues in that nature, it's more of just kind of getting traction and getting interest and enough folks that are interested in participating to warrant having a league. Yeah, we're actually currently working on like trying to bring back our co-ed softball league and just trying to get folks interested, teams interested, so that we can have the league. So I think actually for some of those adult sports, especially some that like kickball that may not be quite as popular as your adult league basketball, right? It's just a little bit difficult for us to find interest, but that's usually kind of for us, if the community shows interest, like we're always open to looking into offering the program, so.
In this instance, I got the sense it was organized by, like a resident community member, not a member of Parks and Rec in that sense, so. I don't know, how that, and I can take this offline just to understand it more. But I, community members themselves organize things like.
I think I'm more than happy to have a conversation offline, but I think, yeah, I guess potentially folks. Could potentially have a group of, 20, 30 folks that want to play kickball, and you could do a one-off rental of Elon Park, for example, for a few hours and have your kickball game there. So if it was something that was like run by a community member, I would imagine that was maybe the route that they took. Which is just slightly different than the city kind of posting the league online and taking registration in and doing it that way.
Thank you.
Oh, but if you do that, you have to get insurance though, even for a while.
Yes, for a one-off rental, you would need to get insurance, so you would need to get like, special event insurance for that one rental, yeah.
You can also apply via user group. There's an adult soccer league that's a user group, and runs regularly over just in Kelly.
There are places online where you can get event. Sort of one-off event insurance policies, and I think the staff probably have, I don't know, keep a list of those places, but. Because that's a question that gets asked a lot, insurance, what do you mean? Some people, for some things like picnic rentals and things like that, your homeowner's insurance may cover it, or you can get a rider for your instance to cover that. But for other things, for bigger things, I think they use things online.
Okay,
Regarding the fees, for the fees listed on the first page, are those hourly rates?
Yeah, so those fees would be hourly rates and they're all represented on the master fee schedule. But yeah, those would be hourly rates for all of these fields, baseball, softball, and then our soccer fields and our turf fields have different sizes, so depending on the size of the field that you're interested in renting, the price varies, but yes, these are all hourly, and then they're resident and non-resident rates.
And is there a limitation, like a maximum hours for rental or something like
I
that?
believe for our fields, we don't have a limit on maximum hours. Yeah.
But I think that's what that field allocation process is about. It's about getting all the user groups and all the leagues together. Figuring out where they fit and making sure that you can satisfy as many of those groups as you can in that priority order. So I think if there was a group who was like, I'm gonna book all the hours. That's kind of where it would pop up in that process, because the other user groups would be like, well, hey, I need practice time Tuesday nights or whatever, and they would work it out through that field allocation process.
Is there a specific group or sport that is, requesting fields more, higher than they have been historically, like, yeah, for example, like pickleball has exploded, the demand for pickleball has increased, or for pickleball courts has increased. Do you see something similar in terms of baseball, softball, or soccer, or whatever else?
I only been for a year.
Yeah.
I say the primary hunters are soccer and baseball. I also some lacrosse.
Yeah,
Both the user group and wild renters a lot of times for lacrosse. But I wouldn't say I noticed a trend in a new sport for me.
yeah, I guess I guess the purpose of my question is like trying to get insight into, you know, let's say we do get. I don't know, a new capital allocation for something, a new park, like. What would that? What should that contain to kind of satisfy the current demand? Do you guys have any idea? Whether it be like another field or baseball diamond or something like that?
I think, at least for our user groups, I think the two kind of sports that end up renting the most amount of field space and booking the most hours and generally their bills are the highest are our soccer groups and our baseball groups during baseball season. I think our soccer groups would have even mentioned to us about potentially having more field space, so I think soccer is a sport that potentially could, if we were to have another field, would be able to utilize, and it would even give us the opportunity to potentially like, because with the user groups, like. We would take new applications twice a year, so just because you're a user group the previous year doesn't necessarily mean that other user groups can't be added for the next application, so. That's always something to think about too, is if we had more field space, that would just also mean that we could potentially take on more user groups and offer more field space, because at a certain point. It gets to the point where we can't take new user groups, more user groups because. Of the field space, we're not there yet. But I would say soccer is probably the one sport that has to make the most compromises in terms of field usage and field space.
Gotcha, and do they state a preference for natural grass versus turf in their application?
You feel like they like turf better? I don't think they really have a preference. What they've kind of told us is that they just want more fields.
Okay.
And there's particular parks and fields that they prefer, but they haven't necessarily given us strong opinions on a preference between turf or natural grass.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Moving on to regular business, we have item E1, approval of the June 25th, 2025 meeting minutes. Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item E1? No public comment.
Okay, thank you. With that, public comment is closed. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from the June 25th Parks and Rec Commission meeting.
I'll second that.
Sorry, who was
Uh,
that?
That was.
Grass.
Right, second, yes.
Commissioner, oh, sorry, so there's a motion to approve the minutes from the June 25th, 2025 meeting. Commissioner Chen, how do you go? Beautiful. And, Vice Chair Grass,
Approved.
Chair Lee,
Approved.
Commissioner Patel. Approved. Commissioner Sherman. Approved. And Commissioner Van Buren.
Approved.
The motion passes unanimously.
Next is item F1, a study session to prepare. Report out to the city council on the Parks and Recreation Commission work plan for 2024-25. Staff has a brief presentation on this item.
Great, thank you, Chair. So tonight, with item F1, the staff is recommending that the Parks and Rec Commission review and prepare a report out to the city council of the work plan for the past year of 2024-2025. The PRC chair is tentatively scheduled to report this out to council on August 12th. With that, we do have the draft presentation on the screen, so we can walk through the presentation. Here's the title page with who the presenter will be.
2024-25.
Yeah, we'll update that.
It's good to review.
So we just, and just so you know what's in your packet, or if it's in your packet, this is a different template that we're using, our newer template, so. Forgive me minutes. So with that, it just goes over a general overview of the PRC work plan and that there were 11 goals listed in the work plan for last year. Identifying then the primary goals, the first being providing a public forum for information and discussion about recreation issues and facilitating a robust public comment and participation at commission meetings. Supporting and advising the recreation program development operations at Belhaven Community Campus and reviewing progress toward the goals in the Parks and Recreation Facility Master Plan. So those are the three kind of primary goals listed, and any comments, feedbacks that you have will be taken into consideration, and the document will be updated and presented to the chair for review.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item F1? We have one public comment from Lucy Bowen. Lucy, you may address the commission.
I'm then going to, a little confusing what's online. I have what we just looked at. Is that, but then the work plan goals document was revised. Do you have that too?
Well, there's sort of, if I may, there's two sort of things that we're talking about tonight. We're sort of reporting out on last year's work plan, which is what this item is. And then the next item, they'll be working to develop their work plan for the upcoming year.
Okay. So the goal number one, acting as a public forum. If I have this right, the Parks and Recreation for feedback for hundreds of commenters at multiple meetings of the PRC and several joint meetings with the Library Commission regarding the aquatics program and the Bayfront Park. Now I should be really transparent and say that I'm a swimmer. And it's been with great sadness that I've experienced March, April, May, June of the sort of confusion about what's happening. But Trish, is that the feedback that you passed out on the aquatics meetings that had lists of all the comments that had been made about aquatics?
Yeah, so there was a report that came to the commission on aquatics, and we did go over what has been kind of the general feedback that's been provided from the aquatics working group.
Yeah, and I guess the comment that I have about that is that I think it would be really helpful in taking that feedback to date the comments. Because this situation has evolved over months, and so what people are reacting to, developments they're reacting to. It's really matters when the comment was made, because the thing may have been resolved, but the comment stays in the list. And this has particular significance, I think, because as best as I can tell, what is going to be happening with the aquatics is that there'll be a major schedule change on August 18th, which is, I'm assuming you've all seen this, because have you seen the new schedule for Burgess Park, for Burgess Pool and for Belhaven? Yes or no? I mean, nod yes or say no, I haven't seen it. Please help me out here, yes, I mean. Haven't seen it. Do you?
So do I mean,
The people on the committee, because on the commission, because the document was circulated to Betsy Nash. So it's in, Trish is aware of it, so I didn't know whether it had been circulated to you or not.
right, I just want to remind folks, we are in a comment period for item F1. I do want to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so basically what I want to say is that starting with it's particularly important to make the comments dated, because they're going to happen again. That's what I wanted to stress that, I'm sorry.
No, absolutely, and I guess just a brief note, we are, the issues with the aquatics situation are being considered by the committee. I know there's an ad hoc group that's dealing with that as well, so
Well,
we are,
So, I was expecting maybe that would be, but let's go, I mean, I don't wanna get you off the items.
no worries, thank you very much for your comment. Ashley, are there any other public comments on item F1?
No public comment.
Okay, thank you. With that, public comment is closed. We will then open the item for commission discussion. I guess one addendum is that, actually I had the opportunity to ask Vice Chair Grass to speak on my behalf, at the August 12th council meeting. I just have a scheduled conflict, so I believe, yeah, he will be taking over that responsibility.
Great, and if I may, would it be helpful to walk through all the slides? We just went through the one goal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially now.
Great. Yes, of course. So those are the three primary goals and then additional goals, they're on the screen there. So we have the tours, advising on maintenance and upgrades of facilities, receiving staff presentations, review of the departmental budget, review of public facing policies, maintaining a 12-month schedule, and then reviewing and advising on potential synergies between departments. So those are the secondary goals, if you will. Still in the work plan. Any comments on that slide? Thank you, Chair. Next slide. Yeah, thanks.
It just takes a while.
Oh, gotcha.
Presses it for it to go.
So this is just open for photos. There's a few of those in between. First goal. Specifics here about the first goal. Second goal. This is about Bellhaven and supporting development of operations, program development operations. Review progress of the Parks and Recreation Facility Master Plan. This year we went over facility updates for the playgrounds. And then just a summary of additional areas of focus. Update the work plan, select a new chair and vice chair, review the RFP for park ranger services, review and advised on facility rental policy and signage, display policy, review draft community survey for library recreation programs and facilities and aquatics, receive presentations from staff on park enforcement, aquatics, and the aquatics annual report, receive an update on the LCS strategic plan goal of receiving CAPRA accreditation, convene an ad hoc committee to support planning of the 5K fun run, and providing a monthly form of public transparency and input related to park and recreation services in the public. And then just recognizing each of the commissions for 2024, 25, and 25, 26. Ongoing tasks. Moving forward, continue to support operations of Bellhaven, continue to support vibrant and relevant community centers and recreation services. Parks and Rec Commission is looking forward to city councils, so looking forward to their feedback, and then thank you.
And we'll swap out those flower slides with relevant pictures
And change the year.
and change the.
Yes.
Looks good.
And
And so typically after I give the presentation, will the council ask questions? Is there Q and A of me, or how does that work?
It really depends. Most often they're they express thanks for the commission's work.
Mhm.
Sometimes they have questions, sometimes not. I can't remember from last year whether the council had particular questions for you after your presentation or not.
I think I gave a different presentation, maybe not. Yeah, I don't think it was the work plan, but they did end up asking questions about. Your experience on the commission, what you thought was important, why you're there. So be prepared to do that. I don't think they were necessarily drilling into pickleball courts and what we could do about them, but I would actually welcome that question, but I don't think that's necessarily the forum for it, yeah.
Okay,
And we'll be there to like, you know.
oh, you can ask that, right, yeah.
I'll grab the mic, because the staff is usually sitting in the audience, but if you're making a presentation at the podium, probably Tricia and I will slide up to the staff presentation table, just in case they have questions. You can go like that and we can. We're there to help.
Okay, sounds real good. And then, so we're pretty much set, and I guess, you can forward me a copy beforehand, anything else that you're working on, or just the signs?
Fantastic photos.
Yeah.
And I show the vibrancy of what we do and any potential updates. If there's anything else, feel free to let us know.
Great,
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so next item then is F2, which is the draft of the Parks and Recreation Commission work plan for 2025-26. Staff again has a brief presentation on this item.
Thank you, Chair. So with this item, this is gonna be a review, and of the document, in reference to the conversation during the June meeting. We have the 2024-2025 policy with tracked changes, referencing the conversation and the requested updates to the work plan. So actually, if you pulling it up.
Need a visual.
No, I can't. I can give you a visual, but I can't open any presentation.
It's the work plan document, just draft the work plan. Yeah, thank you.
It's good.
Thank you, Ashley. Great, okay, so same format as the previous work plan, and as mentioned, the changes. This is all draft, until it is voted on tonight. And then this will go to council, in September. For vote, review and vote, once the commission votes on it, but first item, not a lot of changes there. Just in reference to last month, we did have just some general conversation about, bringing, making sure that robust, that invitation is a little more widespread to the community, so. Number 2, support and advise recreation program development and operations, specifically in the last work plan. It spoke to Bellhaven. The conversation last month was about, kind of focusing on Bellhaven and the Burgess campus, so we kept that very general. And then added, in that second bullet is where we've, BHCC is kind of called out, and then in parentheses, there was a little conversation about including aquatics, and that can stay there, that can be taken out. It can be very generally stated where it's just understood that aquatics is included. And then 3, 4, and 5, keeping those the same. Removing 6, it is redundant to number 2. 7, then would be regarding the budget and reviewing, just looking at the process. I'm sorry, yeah. But we did have a conversation about the process and not being able to do so before council sees it. Number 7, reviewing public facing policies. If we did have something specific to BHCC, we decided the conversation was to take that out. Number 8, periodically receiving staff presentations like today about major park and recreation service areas and programs. other city departments, and then we included the youth advisory committee as discussed. And number 9, maintain the 12-month schedule, tentative schedule, and then number 10, we just put in there annually hosting city council liaison at the PRC meetings. So there's 10 goals this year.
Okay, Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, there is one public comment. Lucy Bowen, you can address the commission if you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious as to, when you say there was a conversation that led to being changed, who was party to that conversation in the interest of transparency?
This is, the commission's work plan, just to briefly state it. This is something that we discussed in the past commission meeting about what will define us or be our guiding principles going forward.
Okay, so as a commission, you decided on the original wordings. And Tricia alluded to subsequent conversations that led to the changes. And I'm just curious about, was that all within the Parks and Recreation Commission?
Correct, yes. So just to be clear, 2024, 25, there was a different body of commissioners that agreed to what we discussed, about 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
Now, this plan is something that we discussed last month about how, how would we like to revise it or keep it the same? And this is what we ended up on, and agreed upon in public. You review the commission meeting, and we're here to kind of reflect on the changes that were made by Tricia now, so.
Yeah, and that's what I'm reflecting on.
Sure.
And I would be curious to know the reasoning behind that. And as a 30-year resident of Menlo Park, taxpayer and so on, I think it says actually that anyone can ask that kind of question as part of the program. So I'm just asking what the thinking was.
I think that's something that we can discuss as a commission after you complete your comment, so.
Oh, I'm not allowed to ask a question and get an answer.
I think it's sort of a long answer because there was a 20-minute discussion of what they wanted to change from the previous year's work plan to this year's work plan. So Tricia and staff just tried to capture those changes that the discussion led to. And that's what we're reflecting back to the commission now. So I think they could have the same discussion again about why they decided to do this and that. But they had that discussion at the last meeting.
Yeah, and I'm really very carefully read all of that, the material from that last meeting. I'm sorry I couldn't attend it. But it doesn't sound as though there's much. Thank you very much for listening.
And can I say just procedurally, could we get your specific feedback? I'd be interested in hearing exactly what you like or don't like about this. And just part of your public comment, and then we can then discuss it right now afterwards. I think that's how this works, correct?
Sure.
So we do want to hear you, for sure, and specifically what you have to say, what your feedback is.
It alludes to reports made about what's happened at Belhaven during July, and I couldn't find that on the website. Be that as it may, since this disruption and tension over the use of the pools has centered so much around Belhaven and purchase of pool usage. It just seems kind of strange on one hand, putting in aquatics programs, and on the other hand, taking out addressing Belhaven's needs in the way that it was working. And, for those for 20 of the 30 years that I've lived here, I've worked with students from East Palo Alto and Belhaven. And so I'm very invested in trying to cross the 101, you might say, and see then more happen. And one of the discouraging parts about the last 4 months is that it feels like the tension has increased rather than decreased. And that cannot be blamed on the swimming pool. It probably has other sources within our national world. But that's what I'm saying is, I would like, I understood that a lot of these reports were going to be in August, in the August city council meeting. And now it seems like this has all been pushed off until the September meeting. And meanwhile, this, emergency plan, of cutting, let's see, it's 5 hours of swimming per day, at Burgess and moving Bethel Masters noon to Belhaven is gonna happen. And I'm hoping that you all are prepared for whatever the feedback that comes as a result of that. So that's really what I'm trying to think. Thank you, Mr. Grass, for coming over here.
Oh, sure, you got it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys can go ahead. Try to make that better.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Ashley, are there any other public comments on this item?
No,
Okay, thank you. With that, public comment is closed and we will open the item for commission discussion.
Okay, so I want to address what you mentioned. So I think there was discussion in the commission at the last meeting about shifting around Belhaven. It was just kind of kept separate and we kept the word aquatics in there. And I think there was some question about that. I'd like to keep, Belhaven and aquatics in there is, my inclination. If we have, head nodding from the council. There's been discussion at the commission. We had people from the Master Swimmers talk 2 meetings ago. I think the commission is very sensitive to the whole issue of aquatics. Belhaven, and at the last meeting we discussed, we really want to have a focus on supporting Belhaven. And it's just called out there separately, so we weren't meaning to, I think, diminish the focus on Belhaven. We just wanted to keep it as a, separate item. So it's top of mind for us, and I'm personally speaking about aquatics, and this is, to do with the work plan. I think this is a really big challenge we have as a Parks and Rec Commission and City Council, and we're going to try to work with City Council to make sure we keep the program alive. So it's something that we want to address.
The proposal back in March was very carefully crafted by staff and by you all. And I regret that it was not.
Yes, I think it's an ongoing issue. So I think, so just to reassure you're about your comment, Belhaven is
I guess.
top of mind and aquatics. And I will mention also, I'm also a 30-year resident of Menlo Park, and I swam with the Masters for many years with Tim, so I'm full disclosure. So I'm kind of a cheerleader for aquatics in the city, so I think it's something that I think this, talking about the work plan, we've got a lot of work to do to make sure aquatics is successful. So it's top of mind for me, and I think the commission.
I agree. I think, it's something that we've discussed a lot. To put the work plans into perspective, the previous work plan, 2024-2025, had separate points for Belhaven because Belhaven was reopening. The community center was reopened last May. So there were separate bullet points in there regarding some of the scheduling and policy things, because a lot of that still needed to be adopted or gone over. And a lot of that has been put into place now. So I think last month in the meeting, we decided that the focus should shift back to the city at large, but because we did still want to focus on Belhaven, we included Belhaven as bullet points under the main point. Just kind of for the purpose of reducing redundancies in the work plan, like we mentioned,
Yeah.
part 6 was the same as part 2. for reducing redundancies, but also because some of those points about Bellhaven specifically were already met because we have these policy implementations and stuff that occurred within the campus we opened. So Bellhaven is not less of a focus for us. It's just that it is, and we show that by having a bullet point for it. Like, you know, there are some things we still have to work on. But it was more of just we accomplished some of the stuff with policy implementation and things. So, you're welcome. Thank you for your work.
Any other comments? I think Tricia, we're asking, we do want to vote on this work plan today?
Yes.
You can, I mean, if you wanna kick it to that. You can, because you do have time, right? It's
Yeah,
sure.
it's going to be presented to but if you've got it, you should just vote on it now. Yeah.
Would any other commissioners have comments on any of the proposed changes? Any new additions or omissions that they would like to comment on? No, would any commissioner like to do a motion to approve the work plan?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the work plan.
Okay.
Second, third.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the draft Parks and Recreation Commission work plan for 2025-26.
Just for clarity, I apologize, when we are including as is written down, yes. Okay.
This passes.
Yep.
Commissioner Chang, how do you vote? Commissioner Dobbin, oh, I'm sorry, you don't mind me not here. Vice Chair Grass,
Approved.
Chair Lee,
Approved.
Commissioner Pistoff. Approved. Commissioner Sherman. Approved. And Commissioner Van Buren,
Approved.
motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the next item is item G1, the Library and Community Services Department statistics and recent activities. Staff also has a presentation on this item.
Thank you, Chair. So the statistics for June are in your packet and along with the summary of the comments and responses to the suggestion boxes. It is July and it is Parks and Recreation Month. I do want to also recognize that Chair Lee was at the council meeting to accept the proclamation for the department, so thank you so much. We have been busy in July. I was looking at the report and we've been very busy. So with that, just a few things to point out. The summer reading game is going on through the library. It starts as of June 1st, I believe there were 1,342 participants signed up. Sorry, June 30th. And the library fund week kicked off on June 1st. With the participants, there have been 840 books distributed as sign-up prizes donated by the Friends of the Library. So that is a really exciting thing happening for the library. Event recap, library adventures, almost 240 library lovers attended the adventures. They showed up in costume and attended the popular library adventure event on July 16th. The themed scavenger hunt was full of puzzles and fun for all ages. Participants were encouraged to wear costumes, as I said, and solve 3 quests. So lots of fun at the library adventures. The third annual 3-on-3 basketball tournament occurred on July 12th here at the Ariana Family Gymnasium. The tournament brought 14 teams together in high battle and a lot of competition. The team that won is the Rats, and they rose to the challenge and claimed first prize. The event was sponsored by Top Level Windows and Doors and Sports Basement. So looking to do another event this summer and also, again this year and to return this event in 2026. The Swim Fit Pass, Menlo Swim and Sport in collaboration with the City of Menlo Park is offering a swim and fitness center pass for Menlo Park residents 18 and above. any monthly pass holders through Menlo Swim and Sport will be invited to also get fitness center access and workouts through the Bellhaven Community Campus. Anyone interested can sign up through Menlo Swim and Sport. Summer concert series began on July 9th at Fremont Park. There were about 250 concert goers in attendance. The concerts are being held at Fremont Park and Carl E. Clark Park. They begin at 6 p.m. They'll run through August 13th. And there is a table in your staff report in your packet that kind of goes over each of the bands and locations for the weeks that when the concert series is occurring. So we invite you to attend. Monthly Menlo Park Senior Center Family and Friends Lunch Brunch on Friday, June 27th. The Bellhaven Community Campus Senior Center hosted a family and friends lunch brunch. There were about 100 people in attendance during that lunch bunch, and they're planning to do another one on July 25th. So this Friday, activity guide fall enrollment dates. So each season we do offer the activity guide. We have 3 different dates for registration, including the hyperlocal, the resident and non-resident. Hyperlocal begins on August 7th, resident on August 9th, and non-resident on August 13th. That is kind of staggered to allow opportunity and access for all of these different categories. Registration opens at 9 a.m. And we have various programs available for lifelong learning, enrichment health, and community connection. Event recap for 4th of July. I saw a few of you out at the event. Thank you for attending. And the event began with a people parade. There were 2 performances by Circus Bella, very well received. Attendees celebrated with food, games, family-friendly activities, and live entertainment. There were approximately 2,200 people that attended the celebration. We did conduct surveys both in place at the event and after the event. 59 survey respondents were received. Overall, a lot of good feedback on that survey. 90% overall were very satisfied or somewhat satisfied. Satisfaction remained high for the people parade, community picnic, free treats, and circus performances, and just dipped a bit in the area of the food trucks. Lots of lines for the food trucks, very popular. So we look forward to the 2026 event, and we'll definitely adjust some things for that event. Recreation coordinator recruitment. We currently have a recruitment open for full-time recreation coordinator. The focus will be in recreation center operations, programs, and systems at the Ariana Family Gymnastics Center. This will be open until August 11th, and benefits are available, and there will be an eligibility list after this recruitment period. Solar carpet installation at Kelly Park, just an update on that. It was supposed to happen in August and is being pushed out to the fall in October. And that is to allow for more time for permitting and construction logistics. The solar car parts will be above the parking spaces immediately adjacent to Kelly Field. Timeline for call for instructors. So staff is investigating a way to expand our call for contract instructors and thus expand class offerings for the public. This will allow us to revamp our programs. Call for instructors basically for all of the classes that are included in the activity guide. With that, that ends the presentation.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do. Lucy Bowen?
No.
Oh, so,
Okay, thank you. With that, public comment is closed, and we will open the item for commission discussion.
I think the only other thing that I would like to mention, I did hear Tricia go over one of the things is how many things are going on in the department. It's the park ranger RFP, which is staff are evaluating the proposals that were received. and preparing a report out to the city council. We had hoped to get it done before this meeting so that we could present the preliminary findings to you guys first. But we will bring it back here in August. So we're hoping to get the August 12th city council meeting and see if we can get that deadline.
How many proposals did you receive?
We received 3,
Okay,
which is good.
Yeah.
Because the last time we went out to bid on this in 2019, we received 1.
I think after the meeting, when we discussed the RFP a couple months ago. I think after the meeting, I asked you like what a good number would be, and I think 3 was like a number that we feel good about, so.
Three's pretty good. I mean, it's not like a kind of thing that a lot of companies or
Yeah.
providers do. So it's,
Mhm.
park rangers are often employees of an agency,
Yeah.
either state or county or local government. So to have contract park rangers a little bit specialized.
I actually had a question about the swim fit pass. Forgive me if you've already mentioned it, but what was the origin of that? I personally think it's a great idea, and was it a product of the subcommittee or maybe staff brought it up, or what is the history behind that?
From history, I think the origin, in conversation regarding Bellhaven with the operator, there was just some opportunity that was brought up about partnering, in promotions and just programming opportunities. So that's originally where I think it started, and then it just came up as an opportunity that we found that we could support and work together on, so.
Do you have any rough numbers on how many, I guess there's always been the monthly swim pass, but have signups increased as a result of this promotion?
What we've tracked is we've gotten 8 registrants for the cross program.
Okay,
This
so
was
it's
it.
8 people who picked up the pass for the jet face games, okay, fine.
It's not too bad, because I don't think we've been doing it for more than a couple of weeks right now, so.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, yeah, so, got to see more of that collaboration, yeah. Any other questions by the commission? Next item then is the item G3, the tentative agenda calendar.
If I could, Chair, we skipped item G2.
Oh, G2, I apologize.
Surveys.
So going back then is item G2, the library and recreation and parks community service results. Recreation focus. Staff also has a presentation on this item.
Ashley is going to shine just a moment as soon as she gets
Yeah,
her calcitrant computer to.
next grade shines first.
So a quick introduction while Ashley's, I'll thank while Ashley's pulling up the information. So we got more than 1,000 responses to that survey that we sent out in May. And we brought back preliminary results, sort of general results, in June. Now we're starting to slice and dice it a little more, hoping to see if we can get some insights from the data. And so what Ashley has done is a lot of work of kind of locating what respondents from certain areas said about certain questions. And then a lot of work about trying to put her arms around the 3 text responses, of which there were 1,600, to sort of see if we can pull some trends from those. Now Ashley's got her presentation up, I can stop talking. Go, Ashley.
Okay. I'm share this.
It was there, I saw it.
There we go. So as Nick was nice enough to introduce, We did do a survey which we conducted from April to May 2025. We had 1,115 participants. And we received 1,670 free text comments. There was sort of a task that went on behind the scenes these past few weeks or months to categorize all of the comments. So categorization included adding a location if it was possible and placing comments into one of the following 11 sections. Access, which has to do with the logistic ability to access a facility, so it seems like hours, fees, enrollment spaces. Feeling welcome, the convenience of the location and parking availability. Accessibility, which is distinct from access, and that accessibility is comments about special needs, handicap, parking, ramps, needs inclusive programming, restrictions on physical limitations for seniors, information about nursing mothers, anything that has to do with the physical ability of a person and the need associated with that. Comment is the general remark or feedback that can give helpful context, but doesn't provide any specific action item. A compliment was positive feedback for a facility, service, or program. And customer service related to the quality or attitude of staff providing services. Compliments on customer service aren't included in this category, only suggestions for improvement. Enforcement or safety relates to any policy, municipal code, enforcement, or safety concern. Or any rule about compliance such as dogs on leashes, security measures, or hazards. Marketing and communication was feedback about advertising, social media, website content, surveys, or other outreach efforts. Other is any general remark feedback that does not fit necessarily into a park, recreation, or library category. Pickleball and tennis did get broken out into its own category, so it's any comment related to pickleball, tennis courts, and these can include some of the other categories such as access to pickleball, maintenance for pickleball, programming. These are all categories under pickleball. Programming, so suggestions about activities, classes, or events that are offered by libraries, parks, or community centers. Programming is things more like classes or events as opposed to a physical space, where a physical space offers. Renovation, upgrades, and maintenance, which are comments about physical improvements or repairs or updates to facility, furniture, infrastructure, HVAC, anything like that, lighting that people want to change, that's all renovation, upgrades, and maintenance. And resources, this one was used more for library, but it's feedback on the availability of materials or equipment, loans, tools, digital media. So the free text survey questions, we exist 7 questions. 6 of them really pertain to Parks and Rec. One of them is more specific to library resources. So we'll just focus on the first 6. So it's, if you could change the physical buildings or spaces in these locations, what would improve or make you visit them? What would you improve or make you visit them more often? If you could change the customer service at these locations, what would improve the customer service or make you visit them more often? Please tell us your ideas, needs, and suggestions for indoor recreation, your ideas, needs, and suggestions for outdoor recreation. And then if you could change the spaces, environmental features at these parks, what would you improve? And then just any other ideas, needs, complaints, or suggestions. So to the first question, what did the recreation facility comments tell us? So this is the question that asked if you could change the physical buildings or spaces in these locations, what would improve them or make you visit them more often? We received 377 free text responses. 76 were general or unclear or not related to library and community service. 173 were specific to library facilities. 5 were related to community events. 17 were about aquatics. 86 were about recreation facilities or indoor recreation. And 20 were about parks or recreation or outdoor recreation. So let's dive into those 2 a little bit. So 56 of the 86 free text comments relate to improving the physical buildings and spaces, and they fell into these 4 highlighted categories here. So we can see that renovation, upgrade, and maintenance was the top one, access, accessibility, and then marketing and communications was the last one. The top facility suggestion was adding a weight room to the Ariaga Family Recreation Center with 7 suggestions in its favor. And the second was increasing cleaning frequency in the buildings. I'll give you a chance just to sort of look at the other suggestions. When looking at the parks or outdoor recreation suggestions, 3 of them pertain to that. 12 of them were suggestions for physical changes to the park, which is what this question was specifically asking. 8 of them were about renovation, upgrades, or maintenance. 3 of them were dedicating a facility such as a court to either pickleball or tennis. And 1 was about marketing and communications. I think they asked for signs for hiking trails or walking trails. And these are those 12 free text comments. It was only 12, so I just threw them all on the table here. On to the next question. What would have improved customer service? 151 free text answers were received. 52 of the 151 were specific to customer service. 10 of those 52 were specific to Parks and Recreation. Survey takers suggested the following customer service improvements: 1 for staff knowledge, 4 for staff availability, and 5 for friendliness or professionalism. They also received 6 compliments on customer service. When asked about ideas, needs, and suggestions for indoor recreation, this was more towards programming. So no surprise that 97 fit into the category of programming. 157 of them were related to other indoor recreation suggestions. And this was the breakdown for programming. So high on the list there is youth programs, arts and crafts, language and education, team programs, miscellaneous sports, performing arts, martial arts, fitness. I won't go through every single one, but this is the breakdown. On the right, you'll see a chart of anything that received 1 mention.
And we will include this in the minutes.
Yes.
For the meeting too, so you guys will have this presentation.
Thank you.
So,
These were the ideas, needs, and suggestions for outdoor recreation. So 215 total responses, 196 were outdoor recreation related. And then we'll dive a little bit more into the top 4, which is going to be pickleball and tennis, programming, renovation, upgrades and maintenance, and enforcement or safety. So the first one, pickleball or tennis, this is how that broke down. 35 people in favor of keeping tennis or more tennis, 31 in favor of keeping pickleball or more pickleball. 2 suggested noise reduction measures, 1 comment for other, and then 1 request to restrict the courts to resident use only. So ideas, needs, and suggestions for outdoor recreation, we're looking at number 2, which was programming. 10 for youth sports and 5 for adult sports and programs, 4 for hiking and walking trails, performing arts and events, use contract services and providers, and 2 for a community garden. And then again, anything that received 1 mention on the right there. There were some interesting suggestions under the 1 mention, the dog sports. That was the first time I've heard that mentioned. Pretty neat idea. Someone else in the survey had also mentioned like a dog obstacle course. And so these are the final 2. Breaking down what people requested for renovation, upgrades, and maintenance at outdoor recreation. There were 10 requests for just more frequent or better maintenance, more nature spaces, walking paths, or native plants, additional picnic areas, building restrooms, noise reduction, and that's everything there. On the right, you'll see counts of emergency or safety requests. Dogs off leash was number 1 with 3 requests, and 4 requests for no turf fields. We're now asked if they could change spaces, environment, and features at parks. We received 325 comments. 325 comments out of 342 that were related to outdoor spaces. With 194 people requesting renovation, upgrades or maintenance, 53 addressing pickleball and tennis, 25 addressing personal safety, and 14 commenting on houses, so things such as parking. When we break down the top 6 requests for what people wanted for renovation, upgrades and maintenance at parks, 41 asked for frequent or better maintenance. 39 would like us to build restrooms at different parks. Adding or updating playground equipment. Adding benches or other seating. Adding nature spaces, walking paths or native plants. And adding shade structures or shade trees. This was the breakdown of pickleball or tennis requests, so 28 in favor of pickleball, and they did specify parks on occasion, so that's listed there in the first line. Tennis, 21 requests to keep that, and the breakdown of where they wanted that, so in the second line. One person just asked that we post the pickleball rules at the court. And more reservable courts in general. They didn't specify pickleball or tennis. Building a practice ball at any location with courts and noise pollution. So top request for enforcement or safety of parks, 15 for dogs off leash. Or dogs only in designated dog park areas. 2 for homeless, and after the dogs, things dipped down pretty significantly, so it looks like dogs were the number 1 request for enforcement or safety. When asked about any other ideas, complaints, or suggestions, 25 left comments for parks and recreation, related renovation, upgrades, or maintenance. 22 for pickleball and tennis, 8 for programming, and then just go down from there. But these were already sort of captured in some of the other more specific questions. And that is it. Thank you.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Do we have any public comment for item G2?
Keep it better, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed, and we will open the item for commission discussion.
First and foremost, wonderful presentation. It was very informative. Thank you so much. I can't imagine how much time that took, but I appreciate it. The pickleball and tennis park by park breakdown was about what I would expect. I have one question regarding the requests for public bathrooms to be built at parks. Was there one park in particular that seemed to dominate the numbers, like Nealon did with pickleball and tennis, or was it just kind of scattered throughout the city?
So the majority are for restrooms at all parks.
Okay.
Or they just said restrooms.
Yes. Okay.
Or build a restroom, but I think we could come back with a table or email out a table. With a breakdown of
Oh,
where the restrooms are being.
Anecdotally, I would say it's shared. Park. Because there isn't one there and I get emails about no restrooms there.
okay,
Federal Bayfront also came up,
yeah,
anywhere where it's more spread out and people can't walk quickly back to another location.
I thought of both of those when asking my
I
question.
mean, there are restrooms at Bethel Bayfront Park, but it's a big park.
Yeah, of course. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So I've got a question. I like when you broke down a couple sections, comments about tennis and pickleball. I'm curious how, I'd like to go back and read those comments, but how do I get there from there? It's, any suggestions?
Well. We do maybe a compilation or,
Yeah, we have to go back in and pull them out.
Yeah, it's kind of manual. Yeah.
It probably be a manual process. I don't know how long that would take, particularly, I think it's a lot easier if you're looking for one thing, because then you can text search for that one thing.
Yeah,
It's a lot harder if you're just trying to categorize them all.
yeah. So I guess, Yeah,
This is something that you guys can ask us questions about, and we can sort of go back in and look at stuff and maybe bring it back as an info item next time or maybe after, there's no really time crunch.
So, you go on the pickleball. With that, so there were two questions where pickleball came up pretty high.
Yeah.
And the one that had 70 or the one that had about, I think it was 50, say.
for both of them, just like, yeah, just, and I suppose, yeah, we could just, I could do a search on the text for pickleball. Find all those messages and then, or comments and for tennis, I mean, that would probably suffice. So at some subsequent meeting, we'll take that issue up, but there were a lot of comments, and I'm just curious specifically what everybody's talking about. And I don't wanna reduce it to like, oh, I think there should be pickleball, and no, there should be tennis. I think there's more shades of, of arguments there as.
I think there were, I agree, but there also were comments that were just more pickleball. For tennis, so
Right.
it was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd like to get a feel for that, to what people are thinking specifically.
Yeah, I think this was like so having them categorized definitely helps us do deeper dives. And now that they are categorized, it's a lot easier to pull out things like, providing you guys more charts that are specific to pickleball restrooms. So we could definitely do something.
Great, much appreciated.
I have a question, if you don't mind. I remember in a subsequent survey, there were, a lot of comments about the locker rooms at the pool. And I heard it firsthand from my daughter this summer as she, got back into swimming. Did something like that not materialize in this survey, or was it just not enough to make the, the top ranks?
So I think, so there were aquatics comments and people did request maintenance for the restrooms there, the locker rooms, and then also like the heat of the pool.
Yeah.
So that did come up, I think the types of questions we asked, and because of what the survey was focused on, which was like the parks and recreation and library services. I don't think people volunteered as much information about aquatics as they would have if it was an aquatics specific survey. But in the free text comments, like any other ideas, or is there anything you want to improve about a facility, that's where those popped up. But there was a couple of those,
Yeah, so when we do the annual, or when Team Cheaper puts together the annual aquatics report, they often have free text responses, and so you'll get those free text responses about, we need a suit slinger here, we need the shower needs to be better there. And we have done in the past, you're correct, we have done aquatic specific surveys. This one was not, this was more general, but even then, as Ashley said, aquatics facility stuff did come up,
Just not as much as pickleball.
not as much.
What are your ideas for outdoor recreation? People took that question and answered for it.
Thank you.
I actually had a question about the process. You had mentioned, or people commented that this took a while. Is that right? Was it a very manual process of kind of annotating each comment?
That certainly was.
Okay. I was wondering, I mean, have staff looked into, I mean, this might be like this might be a great company idea, but like an AI survey tool to kind of collate all the different responses and then generate insights off of them. And then also include dates like our just our distinguished guests talk about. They are kind of kept in, well, they could be referenced over time and just be more readily at hand, so that, for example, if Vice Chair Grass wanted to look up a specific comment or specific sentiment on a certain issue, it would be right there instead of us kind of going through PDFs to kind of find out these results. It would be helpful. I don't even know if that company exists yet or that vendor, but it would be kind of awesome. Maybe a big time saver, and also just would make this data far more useful, I think.
So I I am very pro automating or AI-ing anything. I toyed around with different AI tools to see where I'm getting with the free text comments. Unfortunately, it didn't get a lot of things right. And it was enough that it just wasn't helpful. And the main problem is that AI didn't really understand the way we categorize things. So when someone's talking about pickleball, it's going, great, community events. And to us, community events is like the 4th of July or concert in the park. And so it just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really anti-manual. But in this instance, it was the best product. It's really annually.
Yeah, no, maybe the technology's not there yet, maybe. You know,
If you find one, or if you know of one, email me, please.
We keep our eyes open when we were at, this is CERS, which is the California Parks and Rec Society annual convention meeting in March. I was keeping my eyes open, going to sessions on these AI companies who were sort of, there weren't that many. There was one that was sort of a startup, and what they were doing wasn't really this kind of work. But I expect that there are companies out there that it will happen, it just hasn't happened yet. Or maybe they don't think it's worth the time or the money right now to develop that kind of granularity for this application. I'm pretty sure they're doing it for other kids that they can more money.
Yeah, it's the institutional knowledge that is lacking, and location too is like very, very difficult for the AI to understand. That if someone says, I want more pickleball paddles to check out, that program is actually housed in our library, so it's like, that's institutional knowledge that it would be so complicated to feed to AI. And I thought about just trying to build that, and then I was like, it would take just too long. So then I just.
well, no, glad that you're on top of it, yeah.
Good, so I don't want to hear many,
But like, Qualtrics, I'm sure is working on an AI assistant for surveys, so I'd be surprised if, something doesn't evolve.
Yeah.
In that way to help you.
yes, it should be great, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like probably you need to take time to train the AI, but the time you train the AI will be like much longer than the time you do it manually.
Maybe I can take these results and then upload it to AI and say, this is how all these future ones will be categorized. So maybe I just have to do this once.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you could direct it to do something like, for example, for the pickleball comments, I'm sure you've located like 30 text messages, and you could maybe just direct it to just, oh, give me a hyperlink that points to 30 messages that contain pickleball. So you just tell it exactly what you want to do. But I think the problem with AI in general is it tends to make things up, and hallucinate is the term. Yeah, so it's
Need any help with that?
no, definitely not.
I was saying for that, review or something.
Exactly.
Chair Lee brought up dating the comments and like a more user-friendly online accessible dashboard or something, and it caused me to think about how important dates are, and would just like to say that you did a wonderful job with the maintenance and the upgrades to Nealon Park. Cause I know Nealon Park was closed for a week, and I think some of the changes and the things that occurred were well received and wonderful. So any maintenance discussing the circular chair deck or the broken slider things, that you guys took that to heart. and that's very awesome,
We'll share that with Public Works also.
yes. it
Thank
is. Also, I know we were discussing tennis and pickleball in October. But I saw comments about permanent pickleball facilities at Burgess Park. Is that something that is potentially feasible in your professional opinion?
Well, if you remember, cast your mind back, to when pickleball and tennis were going hot and heavy in the Parks and Rec Commission meetings. And we went so far as to propose cracking over that Parks and Rec facility master plan and adding an addendum that included pickleball. We worked through that here in this commission and then took a recommendation of the city council and said, hey, here's what the Parks and Rec Commission recommended. And city council did not recommend doing that feasibility study or study to see where we should maybe expand and put additional pickleball courts. Because one of the things that the users had suggested was to convert the basketball courts, I was pointing in the right direction, the outdoor basketball courts that are next to the skate park, to convert those to pickleball use, because there's some really attractive things about that. They're far away or further away from residences, and they're not existing tennis courts, so you're not stealing from tennis to do pickleball, you're stealing from basketball. But that's one of the things that you would want somebody to kind of work out, like centrally located, yeah, but is there a better option even than the basketball courts? You know, and that's what a study like that would have,
Yeah.
hopefully given us. So that's not to say we can't go back to the city council and go, hey, still think this is important.
Yeah.
We kind of need to do something about it. It does feel a little bit to me like it's bubbling up a little bit again.
Yeah.
I think mainly because it's summer and people are leaving their windows open because it's hot. And so I'm hearing more about noise, pickleball noise. Plus our lane thing broke at Elon Park, so it was allowing the lights to be on later.
Oh,
And that's spurred a couple of different complaints, so we're in the process of fixing that.
I did see some comments.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just add, so that's on the agenda for October, so I'm hoping to just, just pull out those tennis pickleball comments ahead of that meeting, because
That's a big point.
I'd really like to hear what the public has to say leading into that, and then the public will probably show up.
Oh,
At that
no,
October
no
meeting.
doubt,
Yeah.
if you put it on the agenda, they will come, and that's great.
Yeah, but I think it's, it's really, this is great information, I think it's really, I personally think the most important thing we can do in this forum is respond to, pain points, so tennis pickleball is one, there's Bedwell Park. And there's, of course, aquatics. And so that's, this is a great way to find out, what people are thinking, and I have a question beyond this. So speaking of, I just brought up Bedwell, there's a lot of people that are non-residents that use Bedwell and it's being kind of overused. Is there any way to find out who those people are or survey those people that are not Menlo Park residents that might not see the survey? Because, there's a lot of Facebookers that are out there using the park. Any thoughts on that?
We did at one point look at a location service called Placer AI. Is that what you were gonna talk about, Ashley?
No.
But we decided because it uses cell phone data to track people and let you know who's coming to your parks or events and where they're from. It seemed a little shady to me, because you might opt in to allow location services on one app. And without your knowledge, they set up a Placer AI, and Placer AI is like, okay, now I know where you went. So we decided not to pull the trigger on that one. We probably could if we get into a more detailed discussion about Bedwell Bayfront Park, and I can see that coming up. Soon, because there's a new ranger contract and we're trying to talk to the ranger about what we want them to do. That could be one of the things that we talked about is doing Bedwell Bayfront Park user specific survey and work with the Friends of Bedwell Bayfront Park and the ranger provider to help us with that.
Great, yeah, I thought I'd bring that up because on the agenda, in September is a presentation by Friends of tongue twister, Bedwell Bayfront, Park, so. Yeah, it'd be good to just keep in mind how we could help them. You
Yeah,
know,
we don't have that information right now about
Yeah.
who uses the park, because it's free and there's no sort of registration or. Or entry in and beyond driving and parking.
No, the only thing we do have, which we captured with the survey, is we asked survey takers where they live, so, you know, resident versus non-resident, so we could look at people who live in Menlo Park and people who don't live in Menlo Park, and then who said that they use Better Wayford frequently, and see if there's any helpful information captured there. And then do we want to also add, even though there wasn't very many, deeper look at the aquatics comments, would only be like. I think probably less than 25, but.
Probably more, unique to that, going in the aquatics specific, so, yeah.
It says on this agenda, program update, is that what we're going to say?
Yeah, no, we were just talking about, generating some of the comments from either within this most recent survey. Or, and or even better, going back to the aquatics specific surveys.
All great. Comments, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. If not, we can move on to our next item. Which is item G3, the tentative agenda calendar.
Very a couple of comments about this already. But- Sure.
so are we waiting for public comments or? Okay.
Yeah, we could maybe take public comment first. Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments for item G3? No public comment.
Thank you, with that, public comment is closed and we will open the item for commission discussion. Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Are we talking about?
The agenda calendar.
Yeah. So that's what I'm confused about. Is there an aquatics program update scheduled for tonight?
No,
There's not.
August 27th.
Okay, online, okay, this is been revised. now.
Yeah.
Okay. I just printed it out.
Oh.
You must just updated it, actually, amazing. Okay, sorry.
Okay, no worries, thank you. With that, public comment is closed. And we will open the item for commission discussion.
Next month, the presentation on large scale community events. Do the concerts in the summer, like the summertime concert series, is that considered a large scale community event?
I think
We
so.
could include it, yeah,
Who will be giving that presentation? Will it be staff?
yes,
Oh,
it would be staff, Jen,
Jen Mosso, who
yeah,
Okay,
is in charge of
large scale community.
herding cats for large scale.
just because I was interested if they would discuss last week's concert in the park.
Oh, I can provide some information on that offline if you want.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah.
For
the rest of the commission, there was a water sprinkler malfunction and the sprinklers went off while they were setting up for the concert at the park. Which was really unfortunate, but the sound engineer who we contract to run the sound board for the concerts did not recommend that we go ahead with the concert after the equipment had gotten wet because they were afraid that it could short out or hurt somebody or something. So we canceled it, and it was very last minute. It was like 5:30 for a 6 o'clock concert or something that we canceled it. I was dressed as Robot Chicken and I had 2 phones because I was working at the library event and getting all the messages going back and forth, but the crew who were on the ground there, including Harrison, went around and told everybody. Like 140, 150 people stayed anyway and picnicked. And like somebody got up on stage and played guitar and it was like really kind of heartwarming. That people weren't mad or, I think we had one person who was upset, but I mean, they were really understanding.
Concert takeover.
And I think Jen was, we were chatting today and she planned to, before the concert tonight, to make an announcement about that. And gonna try to do that more schedule, find out.
Wonderful.
And on the public works side, they have, it's not set on, the timer's not set for it to go off. In the middle of the day at all, it's supposed to be going off at like 11 o'clock at night here. But now they just shut it all off, and what they'll do is manually turn it on in the morning when they're there doing the park cleanup. Until they can get it fixed. So lots of problems with timers, it seems, in my world. Light timers, sorry.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah, sure.
That's great.
And then if I may, August 27th, the recommendation for the work plan 25-26, we did that this month, so we'll take that off of there.
Any other comments? Moving on then, we have item G1, individual commissioner reports. Would any commissioner like to make a short report out on items of interest to the commission? I know we have a secondary item regarding the 5K run, but any other reports? I guess one thing that did come up as a proposal, obviously aquatics has been a very contentious issue over the past few months, especially with the schedules being modified at Burgess as a result of the budget shortfalls and so on. In the past, I think we issued a statement to the city council expressing our opinion about the situation. We always have the opportunity, we still have the ability to issue another statement to the city council about the aquatic situation, and I think possibly now would be an opportune time to kind of give our thoughts again to the commission, especially if there is new news about the adjustments to the schedule that'll affect, Menlo Park constituents. So I guess one thing I would suggest is a very short and simple statement to the city council, asking them to work with Team Cheaper to restore the original swim schedule at Burgess, to kind of restore the level of service that was there previously before issues arose with the budget. And keep it at that, because I know there is a subcommittee handling kind of all the nitty-gritty details that are required for the city council and Team Shipper to kind of come to an agreement on this. So that is my suggestions, maybe like a one sentence thing that's kind of very short and sweet, expressing not only the commission sentiment, but a lot of the folks that have spoke up at this commission meeting and, given comments about it. So wondering if people have just thoughts on that in general.
And I'll also support the chair on that as well, and then, I don't think there's anything controversial about us, expressing support to the council. The council has taken votes on the matter and there are discussions ongoing. But I think it would be really helpful for the Parks and Rec Commission. We're a recommending body, we don't run the pools, but all we do is recommend to the city council. I think it would be good for the city council to hear that, hey, we're listening, and I would add the word support. I would ask the council to support Team Sheeper and Menlo Swim and Sport. That's not very specific, but and I just really hope we can urge the council to make it work with this organization. And I'll just add my own personal comment is, as a commissioner, I think they do a great job for the city, and I just am. I'm alarmed that at some point they might just, have to cease services. I don't know what their internal financial situation really is, and I think it'd be a shame if they left the city. I think they've done, as an organization, a great job for the city. And this is not gonna be wrapped up into our recommendation. I think I agree with Chairman Lee that we should keep it kind of just a general words of support, and then we can get a bit more specific when we talk about when the aquatics program update comes around on August 27th. But I think it's urgent that we actually say something now, just as soon as possible, just to support Menlo Swim Sport Team Sheeper. Anybody else?
And I just to comment on the timing, I believe city council was meeting.
August 13th. August 12th.
Yeah, so in order for our sentiment to get to them, we kind of need to decide today on some sort of statement. And then that could be forwarded to the council in time, instead of us waiting till next month to get our thoughts out there, so.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Sorry, we were just consulting, so that's because Tricia knows a little bit more about the sequencing of the aquatics events. Coming before the council, she tells me that now it's tentatively being considered by the council on the 26th of August, but that's still a day before the next Parks and Recreation Commission, so. Very, yes, is the.
Yeah, so I guess, honestly, would love to hear other commissioners' thoughts for it or against issuing a statement. And then if there's enough support, we could maybe put something on the screen to kind of draft that sentence. Or two to get it out there, but yeah.
Like head nods, yes.
All for it, yeah, there's no harm.
Great. So
Is
I,
there anything to prohibit us from doing, so I understand there's legal action being pursued, should, is that-
Well, I would say generally, the council at this point probably wants to keep the discussion about aquatics at the council level, because they're in the middle of it right now. Commissions are recommending bodies, and they can make recommendations. This commission made a series of recommendations to the city council that were proposed in June. It's that one. And you can also make a statement, or you could do. I've seen a number of commissioners speak at city council meetings. They usually say, I'm sort of Fleet Streets Commission speaking tonight on my own behalf and not on behalf. So that's also another option. For you guys to go, but I understand if you want to make a sort of simple statement to transmit to the council, I guess we'd have to talk about how that would be transmitted. Maybe it would be like a message through the public comment, city council public comment line, or it could be delivered at a city council meeting. Either way, probably easiest is to send it into the city council email line. If that's the easiest, then you don't have to wait for public comment.
or I'm speaking in front of council on 12th.
Or there's that opportunity as well. Yeah, because it is something that you could bring up in the context of reporting out on your past year's activity, where you did hear all of these comments about aquatics and the aquatics services, and you did make a recommendation to the city council about aquatics. So you could pretty easily fold the statement to the city council into that presentation. And it's actually kind of dealt with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so could I propose that, Chair Lee, you had an idea of what you wanted to say? Could you write that down? We take a look at it and talk about it right now, about what I should say on the 12th?
Yeah, Ashley, would you be able to kind of put something on? Thank you. So I guess in general, for me, like I've seen Team Sheepers say, they're they're experiencing budget difficulties, therefore they cut hours, and then city council came back with their own, there's just a lot of back and forth, but ultimately, it's constituents in Menlo Park that are suffering, right? Parents of young children who can no longer bring their kids to the pool at a certain hour. We have Menlo Masters folks, so on and so forth, BHC hours being cut. Ultimately, it's us that are just suffering, and honestly, the general sentiment that I personally would like to convey is please just restore hours to what they were previously, so that residents can enjoy the pools at both at Burgess and BHCC. And I'd kind of like to keep that language simple and stay out of specific suggestions about the budget or what specifically to do to kind of bring the two parties together. But again, I think the statement becomes more powerful if all of us kind of agree to it and agree to something. So yeah, not that would be like the summary, but
I like the second sentence there.
okay,
How about suggestion,
please restore, yeah.
how about the Parks and Rec Commission urges city council to work with Team Sheeper to restore hours? Is that, and yeah, not for that second sentence.
Can I say something?
And right now, this is
Yeah.
commission discussion, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I'd like it to be based on fact and the changes have happened, so that's why I'm saying. Be sure to give my copy of the proposed changes.
Again, appreciate that. So any other commissioners have any suggestions? I mean, I think we could work on crafting this better.
Sorry. Can I just have you repeat what the suggestion from Bryce was?
Yeah, so do you agree with that? I was gonna say, the Parks and Rec Commission urges city council to work with Team Sheeper
To restore
To-
the level of service,
Right.
at both the Burgess Pool and the Bellhaven Community Center pool to what it was previously. When was the first set of changes to the schedule, I believe?
There have been proposed changes to the schedule, I don't think that.
Not that, one, the one that happened in April, was it, I believe?
Have to go back and get the
Yeah.
specific date.
Can't remember the specific date.
Just generalize it to earlier this year.
We could do that, I guess. So yeah, maybe actually cut the first sentence.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that contractually, the contract states 63 hours at both pools. So,
16 hours.
yeah, a minimum of 63 hours at both. But that doesn't say that there were more than I think there are more than 63 hours at the purchase pool right now. Right?
Work with Team Sheeper to,
how about
Right.
minimize, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I'd say minimize cuts to hours. Or prevent cuts to hours in the pool. So we don't wanna get too specific, cause they're negotiating hours.
Minimize disruptions to service, just keep it high level, yeah.
So I was gonna say.
Cause I think not only hours, but staff were cut as well,
Sure.
so
Yeah, perfect.
minimize disruptions to service. To both the Burgess and Bellhaven community campus pools. And maybe one more sentence, but again, this is,
Sure.
I think this is like, kind of gets our point across,
Yeah, what are you thinking?
I don't know,
If I may,
Mhm.
the first changes to the schedule were May 21st.
make them first, yeah. And maybe the second sentence can be like, Menlo Park citizens have expressed hardship and, what is it? Discontent about the lack of cooperation between Team Sheeper and the city to resolve this issue. Something like that. Is that good?
Lack of, or how about lack of ability of the city council and Team Sheeper to resolve the issue.
Sounds good, yeah.
The cooperation is, I'd say ability to solve rather than cooperation. I want to be less,
The inability to, yeah.
I like that, the inability to resolve. Between Team Sheeper and the city, yeah.
So do we want to put between Team Sheeper and the city to resolve the situation?
Actually, this is even better, I think, you don't want to personalize it too much, that's my idea. So I like this, for anybody else?
I think this is good. You're probably gonna get a lot of follow-up on this.
Oh, yeah.
At the day of, so.
Bring it on, that's fine.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, and I'll propose to this commission that I can say this, we don't have to put this necessarily in the report. We, in my presentation, but we could actually have me do this as a verbal upfront at the beginning. So I think I'll just introduce myself and just say, or I could do it at the end. Actually, let me, how about, I'll propose I say that verbally at the end of my written report. That we discussed this at the commission, and I'll say those 2 sentences.
Can you discuss non-agenda items, so? Is that,
Well, it's a presentation, if it's part of your presentation.
okay, yeah,
It's just part of your presentation.
Yeah.
So you're making a presentation on the work plan. Results from last year, and
Right.
this is something, I guess. Is part of the work plan to result from
Yeah.
the work of the commission.
Alright, so I can say that I've got those 2 sentences, so I'll tell the commissioners, if you agree, I'll mention those 2 sentences near the end of my presentation.
You could even do it, goal 1 was to act as a public forum, and it mentions that, we had lots of commenters at meetings relating to the aquatics program. That is Baker Park, and then you could be like, regarding the aquatics program. And I think they could fit in really elegantly,
Yeah, I think-
right after that point, and that's right at the beginning too. So it's before people,
Get people all riled up.
sure, will pay more attention to the rest of them.
Sounds great, okay, I like this suggestion, so.
I don't think we can do a quiet pickleball.
Oh, don't even say it out loud, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm envisioning, everybody throwing pickleball paddles and, swim floats and flippers at me.
That's a great goal, 1 active public forum, and then mentions the aquatics.
does this
Great,
rise to the
solid state
level of
work.
us having to vote on it as a motion? Probably not.
I don't think so, because I think it's part of the
Yeah,
presentation for the work plan.
so we do that as an affirmation, which means you.
By
affirmation,
acclamation.
acclamation, right,
Sounds good.
got nodding heads, nobody opposed, great. Okay,
And I guess our second item then, if discussion is completed on that, is the ad hoc subcommittee report.
Yes, but first, do any other commissioners have anything for? I would hate to cut off the time. Okay. On Tuesday, July 8th, the PRC 5K Fun Run Ad Hoc Committee met along with Library and Community Services Supervisor Tricia Moore, Recreation Coordinator Harrison Yee, and Senior Program Assistant Catherine Liston to discuss the 5K Fun Run. There were multiple routes proposed, one by our own Chair, Juan Winley, and a couple routes that Harrison and Kate had previously worked on. These routes are being submitted to Planning, Public Works, and the police departments to gauge viability, because we don't want to focus on a route, send it through, and then have them put the kibosh on it. Ideally, for us, BHCC will be the starting and ending point with visits to Bedwell Bayfront Park, Meta Park, something around that part of town. That has been our focus, as we've discussed here previously. For dates, we are currently targeting the weekend of April 18th to 19th. Beta Breakers is scheduled for May 16th. And the Menlo Park Atherton Education Foundation's Schoolhouse Rocks 5K is the following day, May 17th. So we wanted to make sure that we had a good buffer. We were thinking maybe earlier in May, late April, but we think that a month might be a good buffer between those events and ours. Per conversation with Harrison and Kate in particular. So 18th to 19th was kind of a date we were looking at. Using those dates, then we would likely need to open registration by November, December. We usually want like a 6-month lead time. Harrison and Kate have put a lot of work into this already, which is really commendable and very helpful. They've already researched a number of facets for the race, including but not limited to timing, bids, volunteer staffing, food and entertainment. And to that end, with food and entertainment, we are also exploring the inclusion of a larger health and wellness festival, which would be held on the soon to be resurfaced Kelly Park Turf. I know that resurfacing project to take place after the carport project, and it should be done by April, maybe, fingers crossed. So we would be looking for bringing that back into the fold. We'd be looking at a kid-friendly, health and wellness focused audience for the race. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, August 12th. And if I've missed anything, Chauffeur, please let me know.
No, it's honestly, it's very exciting. I think this 5K.
Yeah.
If it, goes through police, public works and et cetera, should be a thing. So everyone start jogging and get in shape for the 5K.
While we are here, on the back and forth with planning public works, police department, have we had any action on that you can speak?
Did go out to those departments and then we're just receiving feedback, specifically, a comment came in about the fire department being right there, that had already been discussed,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're
Okay.
slowly working through that. We'll have an update for the ad hoc committee on August 12th, and then we can report back to this group.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Do any other commissioners have a report they'd like to make? If not, meeting is adjourned at 8:33 PM.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.